Hello, beautiful light beings. This is Mahadeva the Thunder Wizard, and we have Allison the, what are you?
The
The
Allison.
Andromedan Queen.
Yes. I'll take that. And hey, everybody on Instagram, I'm here with Mahadeva. We're doing an in-person chit-chat talking about or sharing more of the things that we've been talking about all day as we've been hanging out. So we're just kind of hitting record, and we thought we'd include all of you in the conversation. So
Yeah. So I had an idea, which I thought would be a great thing to talk about. And so what I want to do is I just want to talk with you about what we were talking about. So you're an Andromedan Starseed.
yes,
So am I.
yes,
So we have that in common, but we have a complete lack of commonality in the
Yes.
fact that I've been here since the beginning. And-
the beginning.
Yeah. And this is your first time.
Yeah.
And
Human side.
yeah. And so we were just communicating and talking to each other, and you said, I'm paraphrasing, you said, if I didn't say it right, but you said something about that you felt you could help me just play and be human again. And then you said, but that's, I don't know this human thing. And I said, but that's
Right.
exactly what Andromedans are. So
Yeah.
in case anybody doesn't know, at least based on my experience, it is we Andromedans who created the whole Earth thing. So I wanted to talk about that and share
Yeah.
my understanding of the history of that.
Bring it, because I don't know anything about that. And what I'll do is I'll briefly share.
Yes.
My coming into knowing that I was Andromedan happened at the beginning of my awakening when I first started learning how to consciously go into a channeling space. So the first 2 times that I channeled, it happened spontaneously. It was like this movement of energy that started bringing visions, and I was verbalizing all of these energies that I was experiencing. So what I desired to do then was to sort of retrace my steps and bring myself into that consciously. So then I would sit myself down and I would ask these questions. The first question that I asked was, where am I from? And I heard Andromeda, and this was a while ago. I honestly had no idea that that was even a place. I thought, is that something that I heard in a comic book or something? So, and I asked to know what I looked like as one of those beings. And I was shown a blue being, and to me, they're beautiful. They were very tall, very long. They had these incredibly loving eyes. There were several more features that I was shown. But anyway, yeah, I looked it up afterwards, and there wasn't really anything online at the time about Andromedans other than that was a type of starseed, and there wasn't anything that matched what I saw physically. But several years later, actually, I started seeing online people describing Andromedans in a similar way that I saw. So
Now there's a real thing, I wish I had it.
And I want to say hi to you guys.
Oh, is this live?
Yeah, it's live.
Dude, mine's recorded, yours live. Isn't that typical? I've been here the whole time I'm recording. You just got here. You're going live.
Yeah, that's true.
Now,
No experience.
There's famous drawing or graphic or photo of, people use it for all different kinds, but it's looks like a feminine blue being, and she has kind of like a triangular face. Is that what you saw?
That's what I saw, but it was less the female eyelashes sort of look, right? Because I've seen that too,
Okay.
and the love that's portrayed is very, very similar. I'll send you a picture at some point of the one that I found that really matched. The eyes are just these liquid love.
Wow.
That's what I remember from it.
Who doesn't want that?
Right. Also, the irreverence comes from several lifetimes.
Is that it?
Yes. You're like, we're here again. How are we going to do this time?
Every morning I wake up. Oh my God, I'm still here.
All of the friends that I have who have had like so many lifetimes, there's a similar sort of, all right, here we go. Sort of like, all right, I surrendered to. We're here. I'm a little tired though.
Yeah, I really got to work at it. But that's only because, so for anybody who doesn't is new to my channel, and of course maybe many of you, I'm new to you guys. I've made contact with extraterrestrials since June of 2022, and that completely, totally just blew my whole understanding of reality. And ever since then, I've been like, I still have to stay here. Can't I just go with you guys? And then I find out, no, I got a bunch of work to do. I'm trying not to cuss on your channel.
You can cuss.
I got a shit.
They're used to
I got
me.
a shit ton of work to do. So I can't leave yet. But what I wanted. So I'm the reason why I wanted to make this is because of what we were saying. But I think it's really helpful. It helped me to understand, and I think it'll help other people. So my experience is I didn't know anything about any of this. I was a spiritual guy. I was teaching meditation, qigong, blah blah blah, but I wasn't.
Okay, don't blah 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 though, because today some of what we were playing with was that qigong, and it is massively. I'm so excited to learn from you.
I think I can say now, it is the single most powerful practice humans have ever had.
It matches. Like as I'm going through these movements, it matches the energetics of what I've channeled. It's exactly what I've been looking for my next steps. So yeah, don't gloss over that.
Okay. So I've been doing the most powerful spiritual practice in existence for many years. And
that's better.
Yeah, and it's true. It's true. I forgot what I was talking about. Anyway.
What you were doing before you started going into contact.
Oh yeah. So in other words, I have a ton of spiritual, energetic experiences, and I meet these light beings that blow my mind. By the way, I've come to find out that many of our very powerful practices came from them.
Oh yes, yes. I'll share more.
So
on my experience.
I'm trying to stay on topic here.
We just had sushi, so
yeah.
Here, and you guys scoot in because you're off camera. There we go. So she's a first timer. I've been here a long timer, and what came to mind was the irony that as a first timer, you're going to help me enjoy this life, but I've been human for so long, and so but you're teaching me how to be human, but this is your first time here. And just briefly getting to know you, what I've experienced is that you are really showing, humanity without all of the layers that build up after so many lifetimes. It gets heavy here.
Yeah.
I've witnessed it through so many people, and then we sort of forget that we created this and that this has all been a game. I mean, it's an epic game. It's a beautiful game. I'm not like downplaying what we're doing, but it is our creation, and we have forgotten the joy of it. We kind of lose that in.
Yeah.
And then what happens is it gets sort of into this warriorship, like, oh no, we've got to like trudge through it and fight, and it's never been that. That's not the higher calling.
Yeah. Well, and so I thought it would be great to share I can do it with you and with my friends and your friends.
Yeah, tell me.
What I found out. So I found out I was an Andromedan after I had met extraterrestrials who came and were working with me on a daily basis, transforming, taking me to other levels. I mean, they dumped so much stuff on me. People on my channel know, but I mean, I lost it.
Yeah.
I went bonkers. I had a therapist at the time, and I was like, have I gone crazy? And he said, as long as you're questioning, you're okay. It's people that are, attached to their delusions, so you're doing okay. But I'm comfortable with it now. What I found out I was an Andromedan because my fiance who passed away, she came back to me. Everybody that died came back to me. All of my family. All of my family members came back to me, and she came back to me, and she was the one that said, because she showed up one day and like, my God, it's you. Is it really you? She's like, yeah, it's me. And I'm trying to ask her, what's it like? Where are you? And she, I can't remember the exact words, but it was, a lot of it was like, you won't be able to understand all of it, but I will tell you that you are an Andromedan, and I'm an Andromedan. And then she goes on telling me about really grandiose stuff about, king of the universe, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I have to say blah, 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 because it's just too crazy. Maybe I'll open up and say more. But
we'll do an official one. Well, we already did
and by the way,
on both channels.
She is I was going to say goddess, but you are some kind of royal figure in the Andromedan galaxy. I can tell you that. So she's a queen. So you guys need to put a crown on her, and you need to bow. She's an Andromedan queen. And so what I learned was that it was the Andromedans specifically who had the main idea about Earth. And Andromedans are the ones that come here and are the ones that really get into it. Trump Andromedan, big time.
Wow.
Like him, don't like him, he functions like an Andromedan. 200 executive orders, boom.
Yeah.
The Gulf of America, boom. That's Andromedan.
Play.
Yeah.
I'll just drop that in right here. Like, that's play. We think of play like cartwheels and dancing and surfing, for you, but yeah, play is this is a big game. What do we want to do with it?
Yeah, let's have fun. And he does. He's like that. He's like a little kid.
Yeah.
Anyway, so but what's important to understand, I think, as Andromedans is that why Earth was created. Okay, I'm trying to find your energy makes it hard for me to find.
Oh, I apologize.
No, don't apologize. It's a lot of powerful energy. What was I saying? It was something really important.
So the Andromedans were the main creators of this Earth experience. Yeah.
So the reason why we're here, I like to talk about this because I like to address people who believe that we're trapped here.
Oh yeah. Yes.
People who are trapped, or we're in a prison, or false beings of light force you to reincarnate. That is definitely our experience, because this was our idea. Not that we wanted to create a prison. That wasn't what we wanted. But in order for this Earth to work, we have to forget that you're a queen or princess of the Andromedan. You have to forget that, otherwise you come here knowing it's just a game, you're going to ace it.
Right.
What next? You're going to be bored. So we have to forget so that we get into the experience of it. And we had to have this experience of limitation and duality, because then you really have to figure out who you are real quick.
Yeah.
And some people, don't make it through this life very easily.
And that's why people get caught in these time loops, or like lifetime loops, again and again, because we did such a good job believing in the density. And there's really no such thing. I mean, to us, time is a very strange experience, like it feels like we can get caught in purgatory forever and ever.
Yeah.
It feels like we can kind of get in that cycle. The higher truth is that forever, the way that we see it, is like that. So now there's all these starseeds, first-timer starseeds, flooding the planet, going, hey, remember? Do you remember this is a game? Have you ever seen the movie 9?
I don't know.
It's so good.
Tell me, maybe
It's Ryan Reynolds and I can't remember. It's not like I don't think it's a blockbuster. If any of you have seen the movie 9, I can't really see the comments. Are some of the Dior bags from Andromeda? What?
No idea.
Scotty beat me up to Andromeda. That's my beautiful friend Barbara. I know she's being fun and silly. Oh, and I don't know who's still here, but hi, Phoenix. I'm catching people just kind of as they're coming and going. yeah, no, I think that there's that feeling of like trapped, but it's because time is very confusing.
Well, yeah, and it's now, believe me or don't believe me, I don't know you guys. You guys know me. I tell the truth no matter how embarrassing it is or how unbelievable it is. But in all of this scenario, I was taken to a place with a council of light beings, like huge shaft of light beings, and they educated me on, you don't understand, Mahadev, Earth was your idea. They said, we wanted you to tone it down. I said, no, we can't do that.
Turn it to 11.
Yeah, it won't work if there isn't a danger that people don't get lost. So we can't, we have to make it that, this is very dense, very dual, but Earth has to be a place that if you can catch that third dimension, you can expand that, because we do live in 3 dimensions. But if we don't have a spiritual aspect, it's going to be 2 dimensions. And so, they were very clear about, this is your thing. And I said, that's right, I'm going to go. That's why I've been here from the beginning. It was mine. I have to take responsibility for this thing I've created. But we're done, in case you don't know. This has come to an end. So whatever we're experiencing now is the end. And we were talking about the Mandela effect.
Oh my God.
And I just told you a couple things and it totally flipped you up.
My mind. Okay, I don't know. It's showing only one person. I'm seeing a lot of people jump in and out. But whoever's here, and I'll post the replay, where did you grow up learning that your heart, your actual physical heart, was in your body? Like, I grew up where the Pledge of Allegiance, right? We put our hand on our left side.
Yep.
Right?
Pledge of allegiance to the flag.
That you have the heart on the left side. Does anybody else remember that? Ah, yeah, I love it. Barbara is such an ET as well. And she's asking all those questions. Earth.
Is there a delay?
I think there's a delay.
Okay.
Yeah. So we pulled up all these, I pulled up all these anatomy pictures because I was like, don't blow my mind.
Because I asked, because we're close in age, and I noticed that people usually around, if they're born around 2000, if you ask them where their heart is, they're going to say it's in the direct center of your chest.
Right.
So I asked you, said, where do you remember? And she was like, yeah, it's right, just a little left. And I said,
right. Nope.
And she goes, nah. And she goes,
pull up some anatomy books. Pull up some anatomy
and there were 2
pictures.
One had it right here and one had it right here.
But even the one that had it to the left, it was just barely to the left. Yeah. Like, I grew up learning, it's literally like right on the left. So that's another one.
Yeah, and like we do, we put our hand here. We don't put our hand here. If our heart was in the center, 30 years ago, we would put our hand here.
When I learned about like chakras, I remember even people differentiating the heart, the physical heart's here, but the heart chakra is in the center.
Thank you. I remember that
so
too.
Maybe that's why we've collectively moved it as part of our history to match with like the alignment.
That's a whole other question.
Yeah.
Look, here's the difference. She gives, just listen to this. You give an example from the chakras. I was going to give the example of, remember when you get shot in the movies? It's always right here. If you see a bullet hit the left pec, the guy's going to die because that's where his heart is. I'm thinking death, and you're thinking spirituality. It's just like, yeah.
You've played in the war games longer than I have. I mean, I never have. Like, truly, I entered into this Earth experience and I did immediately feel like, wow, this is a very violent place, which violence can only exist when we're in the belief of separation, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't fight against ourselves. There's nothing outside of ourselves. We wouldn't even fight with ourselves. It's all part of it.
See, guys, this is what I'm talking about when I say it's impossible for higher dimensional beings to
be more like.
Yeah,
so
those
to trick you.
people, like David.
Why would they? I just want to help other aspects of myself is really the game on the
See,
higher levels.
I haven't lectured her on that. She knows that intuitively. She just came from that place. But
I just flew in.
yeah, that's why, when you hear like David Icke say they come from the fourth dimension and they're here to, if you understand that anything above the third dimension, it's impossible.
Well, fourth dimension is still duality. Fourth dimension is where it really starts to break into duality.
Explain that.
Okay, so I talk about it like Russian nesting dolls is like eggs inside of each other. So we've got 3D, and this is like duality. And then where it's separate, right? Separate. And then we've got 4D, which is where you can have the war in heaven. When people talk about the war in heaven, that's actually 4D. It's not the heavenly realms, which is more 5D. There can't really be a war in those higher dimensions, but in the fourth dimension, we've got where sort of our conception of time is created, where things start to separate into polarity, which is how we kind of are starting to separate more and more. So there's more of that warlike experience. Now you can't like kill. Like the fourth dimension is where we get caught in those loops of eternal damnation, or the concept of it, because that's where time we can kind of experience it more as a loop, or as like an aspect of forever. Like we've got the misconception of forever in the fourth dimension.
Okay, so this is going to get interesting.
Okay.
All right, so there are people, we use the term 5D. When I say 5D, I mean fifth dimension.
Yes.
Some people use the word densities.
Okay, so there's a difference.
So if we're talking fourth dimension, meaning fourth density, but when I talk dimensions, I'm talking like from a spatial physics.
Okay.
So did we talk about that in the last?
No, but I don't think, I think this is something where you'll be teaching me quite a bit.
So this is again. So my dad was a physicist, and I'm so I get hung up on words, right? So dimension. That's not a dimension,
right?
Like just for instance, when people do this in movies all the time. They will talk about even science fiction movies, and they'll go through some wormhole, and they'll be in a world that looks identical to ours, but something will be off, right? But it will be a third dimensional experience. But then they'll say in the movie, we're in a different dimension.
Yeah.
So that's not a dimension.
I love this differentiation.
An alternative universe within the third dimension. So this is why I love to make this distinction. So if people are talking densities,
can you tell me, I just want to interrupt, are there 12 density layers within each dimension?
That's a great question. I don't have the answer to that.
Okay.
I do believe that there are different frequencies within each dimension.
That I definitely have experienced, yeah.
So definitely lower frequencies, higher frequencies. So a dimension, when somebody says dimension, I immediately go to spatial references. So the third dimension is we've got backwards and forwards, left and right, up and down, 3 directions, this way, this way, this way. That's the third dimension. It's a box. So within that dimensional space, there will be rules of physics. There will be rules of energy and rules of perception. So the third dimension is that box, but here's an interesting thing. Like you and I are looking at each other, it doesn't look any different than the screens.
Right.
Screens are 2-dimensional. It's because our eyes are 2-dimensional. We're not living in a 2-dimensional place. We're living in a 3rd-dimensional place. So we experience things from a 2-dimensional place just with our physical senses. So the 3rd dimension, from a spiritual perspective, when we bring that other dimension in, and then we can expand out, have fun, have love, and then move and grow. That's what the 3rd dimension for me is. So the 4th dimension would be this box, except there would be a new spatial direction, just like,
which is time, right?
Well, that's, some people believe that. There's
okay.
I don't have anything against that.
Okay.
But if we're a box, 3rd dimension, and time, we're moving through time along a path. We think there's a future ahead of us, but there isn't.
Right.
There's right in front of us, if this is the box, right in front of that box is an infinite number of probable
And
realities.
yes, that's how I see time.
We choose one, and then boom, it lands in front of us. Time takes us through it, and we think it's been there the whole time waiting for us to go through it.
Right, no, yes.
So, and that brings up a bunch of stuff about the Mandela effect, but anyway, don't get me taken off. So
no, this is where I want to go.
So when I say the fourth dimension, I'm talking about a spatial reference point. So what happens is the level of, and it would have to be a higher frequency because we're adding an entirely different direction. I mean, there's up, down.
A spatial ability.
Yeah, so I can go this way, I can go this way, I can go this way and this way. By the way, this is why there are beings that people experience. We call them elves or fairies or whatever.
They exist here, but on a different
But what'll
dimension.
happen is you'll literally watch them walk into a mountain.
Yeah.
And you'll go and look, and there won't be anything.
Right.
How did that? And you can see the footsteps. Sasquatch is one of those. You see the footsteps, and then all of a sudden nothing's gone. It's gone.
Right.
What happened to them? Well, they can go this way, this way, this way, this way, and then some other direction we can't even understand.
I love that.
And from our perspective, poof, they disappear.
Yeah.
So, but to be in that means that there has to be, when what I've come to learn, scientists only understand physics from a third dimensional understanding. So they can mathematically understand higher dimensions, but you'll
can't
never
experience it.
Right. And they will never bring into it the talk about emotions or energy because they're scientists. They can only deal with what's in front of them. What I've come to find out in my journeys is that once you go up a dimension, the emotions will expand beyond anything we can comprehend. Just one new physical direction will bring an infinite amount of emotions. So when I say it's impossible for a fourth dimensional being to harm you, it's because they're up on that level. If we're talking fourth density, I'm fine with that. What you were just describing sounded very interesting to me. But it doesn't jive with what I see as a dimensional space. So, I don't know, hopefully we can have...
I think we're just riffing now. We're just really going for it. Well, I forgot that there was people watching.
Oh, then it's good. Now it'll be interesting. It'll even be more... Not that it wasn't interesting before.
Right.
It'll be more interesting. But that's what I mean. You get me started, I can't shut up.
Well, where were we going to go? We were going to share something really specific. Now the pressure's on. What were we going to talk about? We were going to talk about the planetary alignment. We were going to be talking about...
We were talking about...
the beginning of the creation, the Andromedan creation of Earth. And
I started talking about why people shouldn't be afraid of higher dimensional beings trapping them. Because it's our experience. What I was saying is that our experience of the third dimension is duality. So it feels like we're being trapped here. But it's not the case.
Right.
And so we project that onto it. But if we were to shift up to another dimension, we would go, oh my God, of course.
Right.
It's impossible to harm anybody else.
Right. And it's interesting because in my soul history, one of my memories is, I don't know if I was Anunnaki or if I was working with the Anunnaki, bringing technology to the Earth. And this is when I found out this was my first lifetime. I went into this channeling and I was told that I came to Earth to assist with the creation of the Mayan calendar. And when I did that, I fell in love with the Earth and the people here. And I said, I want to come back during this awakening time. But I've had since then channelings with other friends where I saw myself actually working more in Egypt, assisting there, and the confusion of these, what they saw as we were creator gods, right? Because I was these giant beings who were bringing, wisdom that was far beyond their knowing at that point. We were creating this big, leap in consciousness. and how that was perceived through the lens of beings who, humans on Earth have enemy consciousness. And so to be able to perceive something outside of that dualistic structure, we became the enemy, even though...
So they saw you as these evil overlords that were coming.
Not the whole time, but eventually something
so
shifted.
So glad you're saying this.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
The linguist, blah, 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 blah. The linguist. So the Sumerian mythology about the Anunnaki has been mistranslated. And it's severely mistranslated by a guy in the 70s named Zecharia Sitchin. It was then turned into movies and books.
Huh. I haven't heard of any of this.
Before the 1970s...
I didn't even know anything about the Anunnaki or anything like that before I started channeling. It was one of the first things that came through for me.
Yeah, before I say that, I want to say this because of what you just said. I'm so happy that you told me that.
Okay.
Because the Pleiadians, when I was, maybe you heard it, I said it on your channel. When I was king of Atlantis, okay, I said it. When I was king of Atlantis, the Pleiadians were my advisors, and we together created, and they specifically brought a lot of knowledge about technology. The pyramids are their technology.
Right.
So you're talking about Egypt. So that would have meant that you, as an Andromedan, would have been working probably with Pleiadians and Arcturians and whoever, creating the pyramids and all of that, and you would have been seen exactly like you were, a higher dimensional being, which is, whether you were physically a giant or not, the perception is there's this God, right? And what you just said makes a lot of sense. You've just now filled in a blank that was driving me crazy.
What was that?
Was that, what I've been harping on people to drop the whole Anunnaki thing because it's a mistranslation. The Sumerians never saw that in that way, and the whole idea that they were just these
evil
overlords coming to get gold and all of that.
My experience in channeling is just so much love. Like I remember feeling so excited to come in. It was like, okay, it's almost like waiting backstage, but and we were just like, okay, the time is now. They're ready for like this new advance. We're going to bring them this knowledge. It's going to help them. It's going to alleviate their lives. Like that was the feeling.
That's the exact opposite of the whole Anunnaki, new Anunnaki mythology, which is these evil, aliens that are coming here to, and that they created humans as slaves and all that. And that's, again, a mistranslation.
We were freeing them. Freeing them. We were teaching them technology that was just far beyond. I'm only speaking from my memories. I get really excited about it because it taps me into the memory of the excitement that I felt to bring this.
But what's even cooler about that is that you are helping to make my point, which I hadn't put together, which is that from the perspectives of some humans,
it looks like we were hurting them.
Well, they were jealous.
Oh,
this is the psyop that's created after the fact by the people who wanted to steal the spiritual technology. So for those that maybe I should write a book about this.
Yeah.
Because what happened was when I was king of Atlantis, I and the Pleiadians and other races, we built the pyramids and other places to use spiritual frequencies to keep the earth at what the Vedics would call Satya Yuga. And I overstepped my boundaries because I was supposed to let the earth go through another cycle. And I said, I'm not going to do that. So I used the technology that the Pleiadians gave me, and I kept trying to keep the awareness, and it was unnatural and it broke. But what happened in that is that there were people in Atlantis and in Lemuria who rebelled as they were losing their consciousness, and they started a war with me to get the technology. So, and they were very clear. They said, you know, Mahadeva, you need to use this to control people. We can control them. We can get them to do anything. And they first started saying this is for their benefit. And then it turned into very clear. They just wanted to enslave the population. So what do abusers do? They project onto other people what they're doing. So the whole Anunnaki, the new Zecharia Sitchin Anunnaki false mythology, is the projection of the people who stole the technology to use it in a negative way. So that makes perfect sense. What your memory, I'm so glad you said it, because it's, you came, you know, to give technology to help, and then when we shifted down, human beings grabbed it and they used it to enslave, and then of course they turn around and say, no, those people were going to enslave you, we're going to free you. Yeah, okay, bend over and, you know, whatever else. So that's beautiful that you said that.
And I want to share too, like, in case I haven't said this with you before or anything, like, I don't do research. I purposefully, in fact, as you were talking, I was like, I wonder if that's why I haven't watched the videos that you sent me. Like, it keeps slipping my mind, and I don't know if it's related, but I very purposefully don't read, you know, any research or anything like that, because it is, I want to stay a clear channel. I don't want to hear other stories and have that influence. So everything that I'm saying is really truly, in fact, I remember hearing the word Anunnaki but not knowing what it meant. And when I first started channeling, and I asked who am I speaking with, I heard Anunnaki, and it scared me because of the intensity of the word, and because I remembered hearing something was bad about them. Yeah. So then I went into, you know, channeling the Andromedan frequency.
So the truth is that you were an alien race that came to give technology but to help. And then that was switched around, and it means that, which is so beautiful, it means that there were people at the time who had that experience.
What do you mean, what experience?
They saw you as something you weren't. They misunderstood out of their duality and their fear. And so then that over time gets turned into a mythology. And I do believe that the Sumerians, even though they weren't talking about the kind of Anunnaki that people talk about now, they did portray the Anunnaki as being, you know, as creating human beings, using them as slaves. They did say that, but I've said, well, that's because that's the projection of the rulers. Because, you know, one of the mistakes people make, in my opinion, is that, you know, they'll come to me and they say, but this is the oldest written book in the world and it talks about this, and I'm like,
it's still from a perspective.
You believe just because it's an old book, it was written by people.
The way that I look at it, oh, go ahead.
And it was written by rulers who, you know, the most powerful ruling dynasty on the planet.
How can we move this so that it looks...
of course they're going to create a technology, I mean, not a mythology where they're the kings and you are just the slaves. It's their projection. It's not even the truth about the gods.
The way that I look at it, it's very innocent. It's like anyone who's taken care of kids or, you know, been a kid, you know this, where a little kid will say, I want to eat candy for dinner. And as the parent, as the parental figure who understands that if you eat candy for dinner, you're not going to get the nutrition that you need and all of that, from a place of deep understanding and love, from true love, you're going to say no. And that little kid, with its limited perspective, is going to say, I hate you. Yeah. You're awful. You're mean. You're you know, they're not going to use these words. You're subjugating me, right? But that would be the perspective. And that's where humanity was. It was at this place where there was just a limited perspective of how that could be translated.
And the part for me that is sad, which I'm learning to get over, was that we were at this pinnacle. So there was a time when human beings were this innocent, beautiful race, and it never entered their mind. They used the technology to expand. In fact, what happened at the end of the last Satya Yuga, 13,000 years ago. So in case anybody doesn't know, The Vedics have a system of different ages, and it starts with Kali Yuga, which is the furthest away. You're only 25% connected to your soul. And then it goes to Dwapara Yuga. You are halfway connected to your soul. Then Treta Yuga, 75%. And then Satya Yuga are times throughout Earth's history where humans have been completely connected to the divine. And that's where we get all of our stories about elves and light beings and fairies and wizards. And it comes from those times. That was a real thing. People would walk around and do all that. And I forgot where I was going with all that. Where was I going with that?
How it was a pinnacle of humanity.
Yeah, so the sad part, that's why I forgot about it. The sad part is that we had to start a cycle to go back down again. And that's when people fell out of that innocence and then started thinking in selfish, dual, separate, and then you have something, I want that thing you have. Why can't I have that? Well, because you blow yourself up. You can't, and that's what happened. And those are the people who we are working to, take their clutches off of this world now. Those are the spiritual descendants of those first people that came in and went to war with me, and they assassinated me to get their hands on that technology, and they have been running the world ever since. That's where all the destructive religions have come from. When the disclosure comes out about how much technology we have right now the technology to live completely, totally from any other external power source.
I think a lot of people watching this know that. There's something inside that's like, there's no way that we don't have just technology to make life on Earth a completely different experience. It's definitely already here.
Yeah, our society is completely based on petroleum economy. And that's the lie. Oh, you can't power anything without some kind of fuel. So we're going to go dig it up, and then we're going to charge you all kinds of money, and then you will be a slave to us. And you are. I mean, we had to drive a car. I can't go anywhere without putting gas in my car. Oh, what's that? You have an electric car? Well, you can't drive your electric car if you don't hook up to the electric power plant. And who's making the money? And we don't need that. We have the technology. There's been so many people that have been unalived who have just, because they're smart, they figured out they can make things the size of a matchbox that will power an entire city with nothing. It's not hooked up to anything, it's just pulling it out of the air.
So, I'm going to go the Pollyanna direction with all this, right?
Of course you are. That's your job. Thank you. Yeah, because I want to go to war. I want, give me my world back. You guys took my world. Give it back.
Yeah, because the other way of looking at it, another way of looking at it, is that the experiment was, can we keep going into the density realms, right? There's nothing that can happen outside of the divine orchestration.
That's true.
There's just nothing that can happen.
That's true.
So then why would we do this? Well, we're doing it for the experience. And people say, well, how could we go into these experiences where we're hurting each other and torturing each other? Well, because what other game can God play to be so separate from ourselves that we really believe that somebody else needs to hurt for us to, have everything that we need? Like, this is the realm where we get to have these experiences, and nothing's unintentional. Like, you are a God, I am a God. We're all aspects of God, of the all. We can't make mistakes. That's not a possibility. So what are we doing here? We're playing with our own illusion of separation, and still boomeranging back from it. Like, and then what? We come back into oneness and we say, that Earth experience was really cool. Like, I kind of forgot about all the torture and killing and all that. Like, maybe we want to try around, play around with something else that's really unique and interesting and fascinating. And from that fullness of everything perspective, Well, separation is a really powerful way to learn and experience ourselves, and it's just the nature of this layer of the density cake, where we're so enmeshed in the illusion of separation that we, hurt each other. So, and there's a lot of ways that we can hurt each other. We can say, you're a limited being and you can only drive your car and you have to farm petroleum and like you're imprisoned. And it's like, wow, like I'm God telling myself that. Wild, cool experience. And so that's actually how we liberate ourselves from the experiences, knowing that we're the ones doing it.
Yeah.
There's nothing outside of us controlling us.
Yep.
So, the Pollyanna, pretty good?
That's not Pollyanna.
Oh.
That's truth. Pollyanna is, everything's okay. I'm not getting hit in the head with a baseball bat.
I love Pollyanna.
No, that's like, that's the truth. That's,
yeah.
Yeah.
And it feels so real. Like, I'm not going to say I've never suffered. It feels very real when we're doing it.
But I've learned this a little bit. You've learned it. Is that you can stop and decide
in the moment.
You can make the decision
in the
that
moment.
I'm gonna overcome this. You can have whatever you want. We were talking about that earlier when I was, 10, 15 years ago. I thought it was it. I thought I was going to end up in a wheelchair almost, and I made the decision. I said, I'm going to be as healthy as I want to be. I don't have any of those things anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah. We can decide.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be true if we lived in a prison where beings were torturing us.
Right. And sometimes it feels like it's not our choice, so I want to address that because some people will argue like, I chose something different and it's not happening. When it feels like it's not our choice, it's because we're trying to move our experience from the same layer of consciousness that feels imprisoned, right? So we have to sort of move into our higher consciousness where we get to actually choose. So we have to sort of, it's not removing ourselves from the human experience, but it's being so deeply present in the human experience that we are our higher aspect. And then we see, oh, okay, it's sort of this overview of all of it. And then from there we can make choices. But if we're fully in the place of imprisonment and I'm like, I'm trying to make a new choice from here, it's just not going to work. It's like being up against a wall and trying to like make a choice from right here. We have to zoom out a little bit and recognize that we can just walk around. So if it feels like it's not your choice, then that's an opportunity to zoom out. And
that's so hard to hear when you're in that. If somebody, because people can, victim blame, and it feels like that. And this is, I talk about this a lot when, because when I make a video and somebody might not like that and they'll say, I didn't choose this life, or what about the poor starving children and whatever? Are you telling me they chose? Or people will ask, why did somebody choose to, be born with no legs? And my response is, I don't know, don't ask me, ask them. That was their choice. But so it's hard to hear that. But I've learned something. Can I share?
Yeah.
I've learned something about that, which is, we were talking about this at lunch, which is that we really only have two choices in this life. Check the time. Okay. We really only have two choices in this life, which is that we have to choose either what our soul wants or to be accepted. Those are really the only two karmic choices. And being accepted, you heap karma on yourself.
So it's like power here or power here.
Right. And if you choose your soul, you will have to suffer some kind of rejection from something. But what I found is the people who get, and I can't speak for everybody, but it's my perception anyway, the people who get angry when I say you chose to be here, if I really dig at that, what I'm going to find is that underneath that, there's a desire to be loved by somebody. Usually somebody that might have been abusive or not that loving, family members, society, God, right? I mean, religion is all about that. I want God's love. Tell me what God wants me to do. And if you say, I'm going to follow my soul, then a religious person will say blasphemy. So they really have chosen that, because what abusive people do is the message they give is, if you let me devalue you, I'll love you. So it gets so programmed in there that they devalue themselves, and then they believe that it's being done to them. And if I say, no, nobody's doing it to you. Now think about it this way. If I were to come to you and I would say, you're not being imprisoned right now, you're actually free. If your first response isn't, oh, thank God, where's the door?
Yeah.
If your first response is to go, what are you talking about? I can't leave here. How dare you tell me I can leave here? It's like, something's not right.
That's a good point.
It's not a rational response.
Yeah.
So obviously somebody's attached to that idea. Don't take this away. So all of the complaining is an understandable feeling, but it keeps it going, which is what you're so great at. You catch me in it. I start going there, and you come in with what you call Pollyanna, which I don't think it's Pollyanna. I think it's just telling the truth. But to get to that place where you're looking around at bars, and you go, okay, so this isn't real. I'm really not here. I can choose to leave. And then taking the action that's contrary to what you're looking at is very challenging.
It's cool though, because through that, I mean, everything is sort of like a mirroring of the, what we call like the masculine, feminine sort of sexual components. The whole universe looks that way, right? So, and right now, planetarily, we're in this sort of birth canal. I was talking with one of my friends about this today. We're in this birth canal. The constriction, I was like, we're all going to come out cone heads because this one's so constricted, but it's the constriction. But through that constriction, one of the best relaxation techniques that I've found is tensing every muscle and then fully relaxing them. You can go to sleep if you do that, right? If I can't sleep, I'll tense every muscle in my body for like 30 seconds and release, and I'll do that a few times, because that actually creates this this opening, right? And we experience it with our own lives. I feel like I'm imprisoned. The past 3 days, I will say, 3 or 4 days, I've been in this, where I just felt like, oh my God, I'm so sick of myself right now. I will move through this regardless. And I was so determined. I woke up with a fire, and there was times when I call my friend and just yell like, I'm so tired of this. Just get it all out. And I woke up this morning and all of that pressure was gone, and I felt like, oh man, that was really motivating. But the amount of change that it can create, like the birthing into new aspects of ourselves, new levels of freedom. We can't even conceive of the freedom that we inherently have if we've never experienced this cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that I've learned in my astral travels is that
I want to make sure you're on camera here.
Oh, okay.
No, you're so...
The director. Hit your mark. The light is here. No, the line is...
I told you I was a projector.
You are. And I'm what am I?
Generator.
The problem creator? What?
Actually, I'm going to rename you now. There's a new human design type, the problem creator.
Yeah, damn it. Can't you see this problem in front of you? What was I saying?
I love you, Megan. What were you saying?
It was so important. So unbelievable.
I apologize. I really did get distracted by you not being on camera. I stopped listening for a minute. I apologize. We were talking about constriction and then opening.
Oh, no, I remember. So what I've learned in my travels, anybody listening, what I learned is that only the most powerful beings get to come to Earth.
Absolutely.
There are no shortage of light beings out there that want to come here, and
This is
you don't get
privilege.
to come here, not because they're bad, but because they wouldn't be able to they wouldn't be able to handle it. It would crush them. So that crushing of the coal, turning it into a diamond, when we come out of here, we are the most powerful, amazing beings. And what is going to happen with Earthlings? It happens with every Earthling after they leave, they die. This happens. But when the Earth shifts and becomes whatever it's going to be, and we have open, I just got hit with a lot of energy about that. When we have open contact, and we're able to do that openly with other extraterrestrial civilizations, they're going to come here in the way that people think. They're going to come here with their light and their teachings, and they're going to help us and all that. But they're also going to be coming here with their own agenda, which is they're going to want to sit and go, tell me how to get close to my soul.
Yeah.
Because
what are emotions like?
what's it, how you, because humans, according to them, have gotten so deeply connected to their soul. And because they know that. Everybody out there knows that I'm part of God, so it's easy. But when you don't know that and you figure it out,
and you're the light that's walking with you, and that's it.
And there's nobody else that tells you that. There's no God. You're not connected to all beings. You're not. You just come to that realization under everything telling you the opposite. When that happens, those light beings out there go,
yeah,
and they want to learn from you. So what's going to happen is humans are going to be the teachers.
Yeah,
maybe
that
not
makes
about,
so much sense.
They're not going to be talking about how to travel through wormholes. Maybe they're going to be talking about the biggest transformation, which is to, because if you figure out your soul and you're a human, that is the most authentic awakening. You can't get a more powerful, authentic awakening, and that's what all these beings want.
I love this so much, and I know that we've talked about that a little bit today, but the message that's coming through so much for me is this year is the year that we go more human. We're more human and recognize the divinity in that. And like diving deep into being a human, what that means, understanding how to use this, this beautiful body that we have, these bodies that we have, and like how the light moves through it, and how, because it is so powerful. I love the way that you put that. I love that so much. I hope people really if nobody heard anything else, I hope they heard that part. Let's see, what's Megan saying? I've never heard this perspective before. If you find your soul as a human, that is the most authentic. Whoa. That's my friend who I was talking about. We're in the birth canal and we're going to come out cone heads. Oh, yeah. So
I'm on my way. I got that.
Yeah. When I've seen the Anunnaki beings, right? They do have these. It's so funny. I was channeling with a friend the other day, and I was like, I started to step into that real Anunnaki remembrance. I was like, I feel like Frankenstein. My head just feels so tall right now. So yeah, it's interesting to embody. Do you ever do that? Where you have the visceral memory of what it feels like to embody, maybe for you other lifetimes, or even, your whatever.
I remembered being a Neanderthal. That was, I was huge.
Wow.
I remember looking down at my legs, and they were tree trunks.
Wow.
Just enormous and very powerful. But I haven't had that experience yet.
Yeah.
The experience I have is that when I'm doing the astral. By the way, there's a live guided meditation tonight at 8:30 p.m.
Oh, cool.
Eastern. Be there. Thunder Wizard channel.
Yes, go on. I'm going to pause on that. Don't forget what you're saying, because I always interrupt you. So Mahadeva has a YouTube channel. Definitely go subscribe to it. What is it? Thunder Wizard?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. go subscribe to it. He does live guided channeled meditations that are really powerful. You do them twice a week?
Wednesday and Saturday, 8:30 Eastern time.
Yeah, which I think is a great way to kind of like wrap up your day and go into, some spiritual practice.
So my experience of that is when I go, there is no body anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not a body anymore. It's hard coming back.
Yeah,
it's
I get
painful.
that.
You know,
Yeah.
it's difficult. When I'm done with those meditations, I'm just you'd think I'd be all happy, but it's like, I gotta fit in this tiny little. But so I haven't been shown that. What they're showing me is, I guess if I can create a timeline, and I think this is true for a lot of people, there was the before Earth timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And it was normal. Everybody, all beings, all conscious beings were these amazing multidimensional gods. And then we started creating different galaxies and different dimensions and different universes, all for experience. You know, the human experience. We have to go into a smaller space and experience, just like a video game. Video games aren't fun if there isn't challenge. So we create these challenges. And compared to Earth, the most other worlds are just like they're vacations. Earth is like you went to Earth?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
You're gonna go to Earth? Don't do it. Don't go. I mean, you might lose yourself. And I'm dead serious. They're like, what happens if you forget? You'll get trapped in there. Don't do that. So the feeling that people have, what I love about your perspective, I really mean it's like the added little thing that's been missing for me, is that, and I'm having a hard time putting it in words now, popped out of my head, that to remember, I forgot it. I'd be making stuff up if I kept talking. I'd make it sound good, but I'd have lost it. But anyway,
this feeling of forgetting, that we could forget, that Earth is hard.
What your take is that we want to experience, you know, being human. We want to experience it into you're really clear. Like what you're really bringing is the next 5D understanding.
Good.
So it really is. That's the 5D. This is where people are going to go. This is what I've been missing. What's going to happen is people are going to get to the point where they go, oh, now I get it. I'm here to get into this tight space and then expand into, and you still get to be physical. You still get to enjoy it. You still get to play the video game. You still get to learn.
And that's why I teach ecstasy, because if we're in this experience, let's, our bodies, okay, so think about this. Think about the infinite wisdom that Gaia has, that Gaia has to have to be a planet, a consciousness at that scale. These bodies, it's Gaia. This body, it's a marriage, right? So I've got my soul into, like, essentially coming together in a sacred marriage with Earth. That's what this human experience is. So let's learn how this physical self can channel all of that power, if we can tap into Earth consciousness and witness how much of that we can channel through our physical body and really create that sacred union of our soul dancing as Earth. Like, if we look at it that way, why else? Like, what other decision would we make? We're gonna be in human form. Let's do it.
You just explained for my channel. You just explained the Hul breath.
What's that?
That is, there are two main mantras that were given to me. One is Hul.
Oh yeah.
And there are different methods that I teach, but one of them is you inhale energy from the heavens, like white light, down all the way down, into your body. And then you exhale and you chant the Hul, and you send that down to the earth.
Yeah.
Then you inhale. Earth has now, she's taken the masculine, the heaven energy, and she's transformed it.
Yeah.
Then you inhale, you bring it all the way back up, and then you exhale and chant Hool again, and you send it out.
Mm-hmm.
And you end up creating this conduit of
Loop.
energies.
Mm-hmm.
It's going, one is coming down and one is coming up. And only humans can do that. Humans are the connection point. And this is, why Gaia needs us. Because, it happens with lightning and things like that, but when we consciously do it, we're now creating that connection for her. And you just explained it. I want to go back and rewind what you just said, because that is exactly, if I couldn't have explained it better. So that's what the Hool breath is, what she said.
It's ecstasy.
Yeah. The part about
Sacred marriage.
Earth in our bodies.
Yeah, this is what it is.
Yeah. Earth in our bodies, yeah. There's, I could go off on so many tangents.
I know, same, especially when we get into that topic. I'm like, whoo. Yeah. But maybe we're done here, because this has been a nice, long.
Did you just?
No, I waved at everybody.
Oh, okay.
I didn't turn it off.
You could have gone.
You're
like
still
that.
on camera.
You could have gone like that. Wave. Here, I'll do it this way.
Wait, can you talk about Earth in your body? Ecstatic dance with the universe. I love it. Can we talk about Earth in our bodies? What do you mean, Boo?
Good question. That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. I feel like, the two of us combined, we could talk forever.
Yeah, I would go on into the elements and talk about the elements. But.
Well, we'll have to, and like we were talking about before, some sort of in-person event where we're really teaching like these divine constructs.
And
with
if you
physical...
physically survive, you'll get a cookie or something.
The physical survival is the cookie.
There was a spiritual event. Unfortunately, 20% of people spontaneously erupted and left this universe. The remaining 70% got a cookie.
An odd experience in Orlando, Florida. Although at this point nothing's weird. We're here in Florida, and like I'm wearing like this sweater for those of you tuning in elsewhere. Mahadev is like, "Are you cold? I'm cold."
It's
Keep
really
turning the
cold.
heat up.
We were so cold. It felt like
it was so cold. Yeah, that like 2 minutes at the beach, I was like,
it felt like a cold day in Boise, Idaho.
Or worse, because there's palm trees, so psychologically I wasn't ready.
That was weird, yeah. How the palm trees survive is...
Yeah,
they're
dancing. Yeah. I'm going to say that.
They're having their own Earth experience there.
Talking about the marriage with the Earth, and he said, that's the Earth in our bodies, yes. Yes.
We could make a whole video on this, but I'll briefly talk about it because it comes to mind and it's really important. I've felt this a long time ago, but now I understand it more than ever. So I want to dispel our false understanding that we see ourselves as these unevolved little monkeys. Sorry. You like monkeys. These unevolved little beings, and light beings are more evolved than us, and et cetera, et cetera. But the beauty of the human body, I've learned, is the power within it, the chakra system, the Dantian system, the meridian system. When we open that on Earth, I am coming to find out we are more powerful than the most powerful light being. When I go out, for those of you that come to the meditation tonight, when I go out there, the light beings, the most powerful ones, they like, and they've even said, you're too powerful for us. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm a human. And it's like, there's this like, he doesn't get it. He doesn't see. But I've always had this understanding, this intuition, and the light beings have helped me understand that to be human is to get access to the most powerful spiritual technology in existence. We just have to open it up. Now we can keep it all dark and not turn it on, and we'll just be walking around bumping into ourselves and each other. But this is why we have beings like Babaji, who have been alive for thousands of years, who live in all these dimensions, and the light beings come and bow before him. It's because he took that human all as far as it could go. So again, this is making me think, like you said earlier, how privileged we are to be here.
It makes me want to
It's a
just like
privilege.
kiss the earth for giving us this experience of being that like fusion.
And she needs us to do this.
Yeah.
She needs it like we need our food.
Yeah. I just got this the other day. It was like, you are the appendages of earth. You're like the hands. You're the hands of the earth, and we're able to kind of like, we're the ones able to orchestrate some of these changes right now. It's really powerful.
She's going to shift with us, but she needs us to shift first. Because it's that energy coming to her. She's going to expand when we expand. So we kind of got it backwards a lot. It's one thing to worship Earth. She deserves that. But she needs us to pull this down, and then she can do her thing. She needs to be reborn again too, but she can't do it without us. You guys are more powerful than you can even possibly imagine. And that's the beauty of Earth. We don't realize it.
Playtime.
Yeah. All right, I'll shut up now.
Well, we'll both shut up. Thanks, you guys, for being here. I don't know who's still here. Lots of love to all of you, and thank you for having me as a guest on your channel as well.
Yeah, we'll have to keep doing this.
Yeah.
They're gonna my channel's gonna go nuts for this.
Okay, cool, good. I'm glad, because we're just.
Yeah. Don't have to write anything or memorize any lines or anything.
Okay, cool. All right, loves. Good to see you. Mwah. Bye.
All right, be good. See you guys later. You know what to do. You know where to go. Go here, right? Subscribe. You know the deal. All right. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Let's see. Let's end with that.